Hi, today we'll look at what parallel mixing is and why some guitarists go to the added length of making parallel mixing part of their pedal boards. Simply put, parallel mixing is a split of your signal sent to an effect where that copy is processed by the effect and then merged back with the original. The splitting and merging is usually accomplished by a mixer, or it can be done using a specialized pedal made specifically for that. In a mixer, aux channels are where the parallel mixing occurs, and it's the number of aux channels that determines the number of effects that can be independently mixed in parallel. In a specialized pedal like this one, it's the number of sends and returns that determine that. This box is basically the aux matrix portion of a mixer laid out in a special kind of way with a few added features. Why even do this? The first reason is to have global control over the ratio of affected to dry sound. If you've dealt with programming a bunch of presets with an effect, only then to find out at the gig that you need the reverb or delay turned up or down, it's not very scalable to go through all the presets you're using and change them one at a time. With parallel mixing, you'll be able to turn the effect level up or down without altering presets. The second reason is to keep some effects from sending their signals into each other. For example, you can have a delay and reverb, but the delay's repeats won't have reverb applied to them. The only way to do that is by having the delay and reverb in parallel. The third reason has to do with preserving the analog dry signal. Some digital effects convert your analog sound to digital, then add the effect, then convert both the dry sound and the effect back to analog and send the combined sound out. Not every effect does that, but for those that do, parallel mixing makes it so your analog dry signal can be preserved without going through multiple conversions. And the fourth reason is to set up some kind of wet-dry routing, which I'll explain and cover in another video. What effects work best for parallel mixing? For guitar, it's mainly time-based effects like delay and reverb, and especially ones where the dry signal can be defeated. To get what I mean about defeating the dry signal, here's a reverb mix with the dry signal still in it. And here's reverb where the dry signal has been removed. So let me just show you a quick example of parallel mixing. Let's look at how the pedal is designed to do this. It has 3 send-return channels, which means it has the potential to mix 3 parallel effects. 3 is a good number of channels since the most common uses for parallel mixing with guitar are dry, delay, and reverb. It starts with running your preamp signal into the mixer and then out to your amp or direct interface. The mixer is now ready to split the signal into 3 channels. I'm hooking the delay up to channel 2 and the reverb to channel 3. Channel 1 is dedicated to the dry signal and doesn't need any extra hookup. When you engage a channel, a copy of the dry signal will be sent to the effect. The effect sends back only the sound of the effect itself, and a volume control on the channel sets how much of that effect can be heard. The result is mixed directly back with the other channels into the main output. So I can change the mix of any channel without affecting the other 2. This also demonstrates that even though the reverb seems to be physically placed after the delay, there's no sound of the delay present in the reverb. This mixer has a couple extra features. The only one really worth noting in this setup is the bypass behavior on the channels. When the channel is bypassed, it can either mute the effect or it can leave the return signal open. I use the return setting, and what that does is even though I turn the channel off, any delay or reverb that's still in the buffer will still be heard and then trail off naturally. That's parallel routing in a nutshell. You can duplicate almost anything I've shown here with a traditional mixer, but a unit like this can be a bit more pedalboard friendly. Whether or not this type of routing is worth it is entirely up to the player. You can definitely still get by fine without ever doing this. It just depends on what your goals are for flexibility.